Hello everyone. My name is Art Russell. Welcome to my channel. This video is inspired by a short quote from a book entitled A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I'm sure that many of you are aware that Eckhart Tolle is a well-known spiritual teacher who awakened suddenly to his true self at the age of 29. Here's the quote. The foundation for a new earth is a new heaven, the awakened consciousness. His message aligns perfectly with one of the Hermetic principles related to esoteric teachings from ancient Egypt and Greece that I first learned about when I was studying the law of attraction. The principle is this: as within, so without. Meaning, whatever we're holding in consciousness, either personally or collectively, will be expressed as our apparent reality. A major point that I'd like to make is that there's a world of difference in the quality of our experiences, whether we're creating from the perspective of the person or the false self, or from presence or pure consciousness. All of us have experienced this directly. We know that if you place enough egos in a room or a space together for long enough, that eventually there may be conflict of some nature, either subtle or overt, or unfortunately even aggressive. We also know that if we park our egos at the door, so to speak, and create from the perspective of presence in which we recognize our shared oneness, that it will be a more peaceful experience. I have no way of knowing if this is the case, but I believe that the title for Eckhart Tolle's book entitled A New Earth may have been inspired from a Bible verse from Revelation chapter 21, verse 1. Here it is. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. In ancient times, a sea represented chaos or evil or threat. But in this video, I'm using the term sea to refer to separateness or separation. A sea definitely separates land masses, and in this case, it would separate the goodness from heaven, from pure consciousness, to the expression on earth. And what is in between that is the false self or selves. In other words, the ideas that we hold of ourselves. When we know ourselves as pure consciousness, the goodness that we are will be expressed as our reality here on earth. Now, I have an illustration that points to our non-dual nature, how we can rise in consciousness. I used it in another video, but I believe that it can be helpful in this video also. I mentioned that when our mind falls asleep, when we depart the waking state reality, we enter the dream state reality and the mind becomes active, and we assume the role of a character within the dream. And the unlocalized part of mind forms our apparent environment or circumstances. And I've depicted that in this illustration with waves, just meaning like an ocean voyage of some sort. So we're the character within the dream, believing 100% that we're sailing over an ocean. Now, time, space, all of that is created within that dream, and we assume it to be 100% real during the dream. But of course, when we return to the waking state reality in the morning, we yawn, we stretch, and we realize that all of the experience of the character and the circumstances of the ocean only occurred in the oneness of consciousness. Now, I've made another illustration about how we can rise in consciousness and create a better earth experience with this illustration. It's very, very basic, but it's basically that as ego, the false self perspectives diminish, and we live from presence or awareness, there will be more peace on earth. It will be a better experience. Now, there are a couple Bible verses that point to our deeper, more essential nature. There are many of them actually, but I've got two here that I'd like to mention. The first is from Psalm chapter 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. I find it more comfortable to say, God is me. God is being me, if we think of it as the form, right now. That way it helps me to remain very humble, which is definitely what I desire. The other scripture is from Isaiah chapter 45, verse 5. I am the Lord, and there is no other. Apart from me, there is no God. I will strengthen you, though you do not acknowledge me. I would take this to mean, I am the Lord, consciousness. There is no other source of consciousness, only the one. Just as in the example of the nighttime dream, the apparent person, the character within the dream, and the conditions were only made of oneness, consciousness. Now, a question might arise with you, how can we help to form the foundation of a new earth, a better experience? Do we just have to believe it? And I would say no to this. It's like riding a bicycle. Do you believe you can ride it? Sure, and you get on it and you fall and you scrape your knees. Belief is not the same as knowing. We can know our essential nature more deeply by becoming still, by engaging in meditation. Still the senses, even for 5 or 10 minutes a day, and you will soon realize that there's an inner dimension within you, very alive. In fact, it is the life within you, in which you can be aware of this separation from your sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. And it may be surprising at first to realize the center of awareness And what I'm saying in this video is we'll have a more peaceful life experience when we live from that still center or presence of pure consciousness. If you've enjoyed this video, I invite you to share, subscribe, and like. More information is available through my free blog articles at thinktwice.me and also through my book entitled This Taste of Flesh and Bones, available from Amazon. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.